The model of the EMD F3 diesel locomotive was one of the most desired and admired train models produced by Lionel in the 1950s. EMD stands for Electro-Motive Division of General Motors. The F originally meant 14, since the first locos had 1400 horsepower, later 1500. There were also stronger units, such as the E-type, which stands for 18, since these units produced 1800 horsepower. Here you see a video of an EMD E9 produced by Delay in Block Productions with permission. F units were produced between 1939 and 1960. The number 3 in F3 indicates that it is the third development stage, and the F3 units were produced between 1945 and 49. The F3 was powered by a two-stroke V-type 6-cylinder diesel engine, which was designed specifically for railroad locomotives. It had a total displacement of about 9,000 cubic inch and was equipped with a Roots-type supercharger. The motor drove a generator which powered 4 traction motors, 2 on each truck. The so-called A units contained a cabin, and 1,111 of these units were produced. There were also so-called B units, which were units lacking the cab and served as boosters. 696 of these cabless B units were built. The first Lionel F3 was introduced in 1948 and was a model of the Santa Fe, the short version of the Atchison, Topeka and Santa Fe Railway. The Santa Fe Railway had bought 46 A units and 47 B units. The first clip shows the motorized A unit, followed by the B unit and the unmotorized A unit. In total, Lionel produced 5 variants of the Santa Fe, which also differed in number, and it was the F3 model with the longest production history, running until 1966. Here I will show you only the second model, the 2343, which was newly equipped with magnet traction in 1950. The first models were equipped with 2 powerful motors and a horn which could be operated remote controlled. Here you see the front motor behind the lamp, then the horn controller, the container housing the 1.5 battery, which operates the horn, the reverse unit, the rear motor, and at the very end, the horn. In the first clip, you can hear the horn. The New York Central was, like the F3, offered by Lionel as a set of 3, a motorized A unit, a B unit, and a dummy A unit. In most later offered F3s, the motorized A unit was paired with either a B unit or dummy A unit. Thus, the New York Central was one of the most impressive sets one could buy. The New York Central was also offered in 3 variants, produced between 1948 and 1955. And here I show you the last version, the 2354. The New York Central Railway was a major customer for General Motors, purchasing 34 A units and 18 B units. The 2345 Western Pacific was only offered in 1952. In 1953, it was offered as 2355 with slight modification on the body as compared to the previous model. Lionel only offered A units, motorized and dummy. I will show the earlier model from 1952 in this video. The Western Pacific Railroad had acquired 3 A units and 6 B units and run the California Sapphire passenger train as shown in this picture, combining an A unit with 2 B units. The Texas Special was a named passenger train operated jointly by the Missouri-Kansas-Texas Railroad and the St. Louis-San Francisco Railway, connecting St. Louis and San Antonio. The streamlined Special with the F3 started its first run in 1948 and continued until 1958. The Lionel Texas Special was the first low-cost 027 gauge version with single motor and sold as AB unit. It was yet equipped with horn and magnet traction and offered as a set with passenger and freight cars. The Southern Railway Company was one of the best customers of General Motors, acquiring 79A units and 65B units. This enabled them to become the first major railroad in the United States to be fully converted from steam to diesel-powered locomotives in 1953. The company served the south of the East Coast. The Lionel model was equipped with 2 motors and was sold as AA unit. In addition, one could buy a B unit to combine it with a motorized and dummy A unit. The Illinois Central Railroad was sometimes called the main line of Mid-America, since it connected Chicago with New Orleans, Mobile, and even Miami. The company was not listed as having purchased an original F3, but they were using obviously other EMD models, as the E7 shown in the image at the end of this clip. But in fact, when the Lionel model was launched in 1955, the original F3 production had long been terminated. The Lionel model was offered as AB unit. There were 2 Lionel models of the Wabash F3, which only slightly differed in the body. I here show the 2367, produced in 1955, which was equipped with 2 motors. The second variant, designated 2240, was sold a year later and held only 1 motor. Both models were sold as AB units. The Wabash Railroad served a large area in the mid-central United States. It connected Chicago, Kansas City, Detroit, Buffalo, St. Louis, and Toledo. The original Lionel 2368 was produced in 1956. This model was produced after the classical Lionel period, which ended in 1968. The follow-up company, MPC from Michigan, reproduced some of the classical Lionel models, and this unit was made between 1973 and 75. It is equipped with an electronic sound generator, and you see the cable in the B unit connecting to the A unit. They use the same number, 2368, as the original. The Baltimore and Ohio Railroad is the oldest railway company in the United States, starting service in 1830. They bought 67 A units and 7 B units of the F3. The 2378 Milwaukee Road F3 was sold only in 1956 as an AB unit. I here present it as an ABA unit, and since Lionel did not make a dummy A unit, I added another motorized A unit to that set. This arrangement results in a very powerful drive chain, easily pulling the 7 aluminum passenger cars up the slope. Moreover, the 2378 is equipped with 2 motors and magnet traction. The Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul and Pacific Railroad is referred to as the Milwaukee Road, operating in the mid and northwest of the United States, and was founded already in 1847. According to the record, they did not buy an F3, but on the last image you see an EMD E9 with the Milwaukee Herald. The Lionel model of the Canadian Pacific was sold only in 1957. It was the last road name catalogued as an AA set. The last models of the F3, like the Milwaukee Road, the Baltimore and Ohio, and the Canadian Pacific shown here, were only sold for 1 year and are therefore rare and expensive. The Canadian Pacific Railroad operates a large network from Montreal to Vancouver, and even having connections to the US, such as to Chicago or Kansas City. Canadian Pacific bought only 4 A and 2 B units. My model of the F3 Rio Grande is not entirely original, since the shell is from a later model. After the classical Lionel period, the follow-up company, MPC from Michigan, reproduced the classical Lionel trains, including the Rio Grande. The shell is from such a reproduction, built in 1974. They also changed the number on the shell, which now reads 8465. The Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, short Rio Grande, operated the highest mainline rail line in the United States over the 10,000 feet Tennessee Pass in Colorado. This is the last model of an F3 introduced by Lionel. After 1959, only the Santa Fe F3 was available until 1966. The 2242 New Haven had only one motor, following already the trend to cheaper models. Its color scheme is based on the design of the John Quincy Adams train, which served between New York and Boston, and was pulled by a Morse Fairbanks locomotive, not an F3. Actually, the New York, New Haven and Hartford Railroad, known as New Haven, did not purchase an F3.